Hello, my name is Juliana Patoric, and I am going to be presenting about sushi. Also, I am gonna go ahead and apologize ahead of time. I am so sorry if you have to hear me sniffle or cough. I just do that a lot when I have to talk. So, again, I apologize ahead of time, but let's get right into it. So, first off, we're going to be looking at the history, the religion, culture, and social perspectives. So, for the history, sushi came around in China during the 5th and the 3rd centuries BC, which is a really long time ago. But normally, when you think of sushi, you either think of the rolls or the sashimi, but there are many other different types out there in the world. It did start off in Southeast Asia, or as you know, China, but soon afterwards it did spread to all around the world and including Japan. Now, onto the religion. The Chinese Communist Party mainly consisted of atheists that ruled, which was really surprising to me when I found this out. Now, a fourth of the people practiced Taoism and Confucianism along with other traditional religions. Also, again, I'm sorry if I pronounce these words wrong. Don't come at me. I just don't know how to pronounce them. Continuing on, we're gonna go look at the culture. So, China underwent several turning points throughout its history from back then up until now. So, one of the animals or mythical creatures that is very well known are dragons in China. So, you can see dragons in statues, architecture, as well as drawings, banners, sometimes even on um, dishes as well. But it can be found anywhere and everywhere in China. But the dragon represents the profound being or man who comes out of his hidden position and starts to act openly with caution. So the closest comparison I can get to that is as of today, how COVID had spread around the world and everyone went into lockdown, quarantine, all of that. So in doing so, we were there for a while. We were all with our families, and that was it. Didn't really go out and do much with friends or strangers or anything. But as time went on, everyone started to come back out of that shell of quarantine and lockdowns. And yes, we did act cautiously. We wore our masks. We got not mandated, vaccinated and all of that. So, as of today, those mandates have lifted more and more. So, it's not really required to wear a mask, but they still are like, hey, just volunteer to wear it if you can. If you don't want to, that's fine. But just for the safety and also just for the safety of others, go get vaccinated, which is somewhat really helping since everything going on. But it's slowly getting back to how it was before COVID struck. Now on to the social perspectives. There, as you may know, there are many known ingredients that have been added into sushi, but have become such a high demand for the growing likeness of this food. Like, some may not like the taste, while others do. For the longest time, I did not like it personally, but once I started my freshman year here at UTK, I've really gotten into loving sushi. It is also eaten now by many nowadays, as well as centuries ago. So it's still a continuing thing from so long ago. Now let's look at the current issues. So the consumption of salmon worldwide has increased since 1980 due to the increased demand for ingredients for the sushi. So, salmon have been overfished, as well as the average Pacific bluefin tuna, becoming endangered due to overfishing and rising demand for them, since they are placed into sushi and absolutely delicious. Another thing that has become such a massive demand is soy, for soy sauce. But it is now the second largest agricultural driver for deforestation in today's time, which is not good. As well as with seaweed, it is becoming endangered due to the warming of the ocean's water. And we are also at a slight chance of falling ill for eating raw meat from the sushi. Let's look at the nutrient composition now. Oh no. We got it. We can make it. Alright, so looking at the nutrient composition, it depends on the type of sushi that, with all the different nutritional values. It's not only rolls that were made. Rolls, sushi, sashimi, and other whole foods altogether are the different types. So, for example, I went and got the nutritional compositions of two different types of rolls, the avocado cucumber roll and the brown rice tuna avocado roll, which you can see how many calories each is, the fat, carbs, fiber, and protein that is contained within it, as well as the Weight Watchers. Is sushi good or bad for you? Does it prevent human health diseases? On one hand, where it causes the diseases, it can start off with bacteria and or parasites. So, as you eat the raw fish, there is a chance that it can contain tapeworms and salmonella, which is very easy, and unbeknownst to us, it can be taken into our bodies. Some fish contain mercury, which this is dangerous for pregnant or breastfeeding women that can cause many malfunctions for the women and even the children, which is not good. Many types of sushi also contain high levels of sodium. I knew about this one from a while ago, so I wasn't surprised when I figured this out, but what it could cause did surprise me. So it can cause problems that include congestive, heart failure, and kidney disease. Now, onto the prevention of health diseases. It can reduce inflammation, which was really surprising. So sushi can contain the omega-3 fatty acids that can help reduce chronic inflammation. Wasabi and the nori rolls, or nori wraps, or the seaweed, also contains strong anti-inflammatory properties, preventing the inflammation of parts of our internal and external systems. It is also overall disease prevention. Many ingredients in the sushi have values that can help maintain long-term health for anyone and everyone. Ooh. Okay. And it can also prevent heavy metal poisoning, which is kind of ironic with the mercury. So seaweed helps remove heavy metals and radioactive strontium from your body, which I have not known this before, up until now. Alright, how to tell if sushi is fresh or high quality. So the few things that you have to pay close attention to is the smell, look, taste, and the feel of the sushi. If the raw sushi grade fish smells all fishy, then that fails that test. If the nori wrap is mushy, it does not pass that test. It has to feel crisp. If the sushi does not look bright, luscious, or inviting, it fails that test. It needs to look bright, luscious, and inviting to be able to eat. If not, do not continue on to the last test, which is the taste test, just in case of food poisoning. No one wants that. It's not a fun experience. Alright, so the agricultural information I wanted to stick to was sushi rice, or also known as sticky rice. It takes about 3 to 4 months for the sticky rice to grow to be ready to harvest. It should be planted during the spring to allow it to have a long, warm growing season. But the trouble with the rice, it needs warm weather to grow, but it also requires the ground to be consistently wet. So it constantly has to be watered, no matter what. You will know when the rice is ready to harvest when the stalk has fully grown to 15 to 17 inches in height and the color of the stalk turns from a nice green to a nice golden color. The issue with availability and sustainability is the finding the correct area that can withstand the requirements for this plant to be able to grow with the moist ground and the warm weather so it can grow properly, be harvested and used as a delicious food. Now I wanted to incorporate the recipe for homemade sushi because this is the way that my roommates and I did it when we made some. So you start out by cooking the sticky rice for about 20 minutes. And then while waiting for that rice to cook, you can make other aspects of your meal. For example, what we did, we made wontons and crab rangoons. We also got the wasabi ready and the soy sauce and drinks and every little other thing. After the rice is done cooking, you let it sit for about 2 to 5 minutes to cool down a bit and let that stickiness really develop. You then grab your sushi making tools or kits if you have them. If not, that's a-okay. Next, you lay down your nori wrap or your seaweed wrap if you want the seaweed to be on the outside. You plop the rice down on top and spread it to every edge and corner. If not, that is okay. We'll deal with that later. After that, you then add your ingredients close to one edge in a line right next to each other. After putting in your ingredients, add some sesame seeds for a little bit of extra seasoning and spices. When you're done with that, tightly roll up the nori wrap with all the ingredients. So start on the edge with all your ingredients and tightly wrap it up so none of them fall out. Once it's fully rolled up, if there is any extra room on the ends of the roll, add a bit more rice for the fuller effect. Once it is completely ready, time to cut it up into smaller rolls so it's easier to eat. Then you get the rest of your meal ready on your plate if you haven't, and you enjoy. So, as I said, mentioned a little bit before, my roommates and I made it when we went to go visit my roommate's family. It was a very fun experience because I got to be able to make it, get to know how it's made, how to cook it up, all of that. But it's completely different from the sushi that I buy at the pod markets around campus or the stuff that I try in Stokely. So it was definitely yummy. So I also incorporated photos of us making the crab rangoons, which is what you are seeing here. Same thing with the wontons, where the girl in the red shirt is making the wontons on the other side of the counter. Continuing on. Now this is where the sushi is made. You can see how much sushi we have, how many wontons and crab rangoons. This is the setup on the table on the right before we ate. And this is the setup of what I had for dinner that night. It was really yummy. But for the longest time, I have not eaten sushi before, up until I got here on campus. The first time I tried it, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it, but I will definitely try it again to get that experience. So I did, and I loved it, but it reminded me of my grandparents' house. The same grandparents that I had talked about before in some of my weekly writings, because we always tried new foods there. And I absolutely loved it, except for the ones that I despised. But we don't talk about that. And then here's my site references page. Thank you!